Hey, everybody, it is Kevin Henry, the editor in chief for drbicuspid.com. And thank you so much for joining us for a very meaningful episode of the drbicuspid.com podcast. I am thrilled to have on today a dear friend of mine and such an amazing colleague out in the dental industry, and that is Michelle Lee, who is the executive director for the Association for Dental Safety. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. Great to see you, Kevin.
Great to see you too. I always enjoy whenever we get to spend a few minutes together. And today's a really important topic because there has been such big news come out of the Association for Dental Safety, which, as everybody knows, used to be known as OSAP.
Yes.
But we're thrilled with the name change, and we're thrilled with what you all are doing to make an impact in the dental industry. And I'm just honestly going to let you break the news if people haven't heard it, and then let's talk about it, okay?
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. Yes, we back on April 1st, it was announced that the CDC Division of Oral Health was being eliminated, the entire division. And we've worked with this division for many, many years. And of course, our focus, they did a lot of things, but the focus that we worked on with them was infection prevention. They were overseeing, they have always been responsible for the dental infection prevention guidelines that are followed throughout the country. In some states, it's part of their dental practice acts. And as we know, CDC has always been has not been regulatory, but when it was built into those practice acts, it does become law. And so these guidelines are very important. So with the elimination, we thought, who's going to take care of this? I actually went to our Association for Dental Safety board and suggested that we raise our hand and we step up. And I was thrilled that every single board member agreed. And we started the process.
And here you are. I mean, this is such an amazing thing to take over something that's very necessary. And I'm wondering, how long has this taken to actually come to fruition? You said you went to the board, and we're recording this in mid-July. So tell me about the process and what that's been like to actually get to this point right now.
Well, we as the board agreed that this was what we needed to do, but we wanted to make sure the oral health community agreed with us as well. And so we began conversations on April 2nd with leadership from the American Dental Association, and their immediate response was, "Of course." You all are the thought leaders with this. And they were very aware of a lot of the work we have done with the CDC. And what some people may not realize is that we have members that were that were involved in the writing of the guidelines back in 2003. So we've been part of it from the beginning. And then we began having conversations with as many of the specialty associations, national associations in dentistry that we could get to over several weeks. And I am, again, so pleased that everyone was in full support of this.
And you and I talked before we started this, so we wanted to make sure people understood this was nonpartisan, but
Yes.
this was a result of some of the Doge cuts that happened. And so I'm curious, did everybody in the oral health community that you talked to understand these cuts have happened and it's a real now what moment for
Yes.
dentists?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, right. ADS, we have always been a nonpartisan association. So this has nothing to do with politics. I think it's what we're doing, I think should make everyone happy. We're just stepping up and taking care of something that is, that had no one to work on it any longer.
So what happens next? Is there anything from Washington that looks over this, or is this really in the hands of ADS and the dental community moving forward?
So we are Eve Cooney, a longtime member of ADS, is going to lead this work. She recently retired from the University of Pacific Dental School, where she was for 41 years. She had about 4 weeks of retirement before she stepped into this role and started thinking about it. Eve represented us on HICPAC, which is the Healthcare Infection Prevention Advisory Committee that was part of CDC. We were the only oral healthcare representation on that advisory committee, and so she had been very involved with HICPAC, and HICPAC has also been dissolved, and so we began talking with Eve about how to develop this. And she's going to develop, it's going to be very similar to how HICPAC was set up. She will be the permanent chair, and then we will have 10 members of the advisory committee. And these members will be represent both medicine and dentistry across oral health care. So we're working on that as we talk this morning, and we'll be having conversations with some of those people soon, and then we will have representatives from many of our national dental associations. They will be liaison members, so they will have a voice, but they will not have a vote. The advisory committee will have the final vote on anything that is changed with the guidelines. So that's how it will be set up. And then our first steps will be early fall when we have. I don't want to call it a strategic planning session, but it will be a couple of days where we gather to determine what our focus areas are going to be and what the timeline of all of that will be, so we can begin working on updating guidance. HICPAC had a working group actually that was almost final with new guidance on the dental unit water lines. They were using the paper that at the time, the white paper that OSAP developed back in 2018 as a baseline to update that guidance. So that will most likely be the first thing we pick up, and we'll invite that work group to finish that project.
And just to inform our listeners and our viewers, we are working with Eve right now to set up a separate conversation that we will be having soon. So stay tuned for that, because I'm fascinated to pick her brain about this as well. So Michelle, let's boil it all down for the general dentist, for the assistant, the hygienist, whoever's listening to this. What does this mean for them in the middle of Iowa in their dental practice?
So right now, the guidance is still the guidance. And so nothing changes. I've had those phone calls where with the elimination of the Division of Oral Health, does that mean we don't have guidelines anymore? No, the guidelines went through the highest levels of clearance at CDC, so they still exist. The Division of Oral Health was already working on, they were beginning the first steps of reviewing the guidance. Over the past couple of years, ADS has hosted listening sessions for the CDC to review the guidelines and hear from the dental assistants, the dental hygienist, the dentist. We brought everyone in from DSOs, from private practices, from military, from VA, from IHS, to get their feedback on what works, what needs to be tweaked, and maybe what needs to be added. Some things have changed in oral health care since 2003. So what do we need to add to that? So we'll be able to get that ball rolling. And again, guidelines, the science hasn't changed. So they still are good guidelines. They're wonderful guidelines, but there may be some additions or tweaks that need to be made.
And do you anticipate that is there a timeline for those, or what do you see with the next set of guidelines?
Yeah, well, that'll be something that the advisory committee determines.
Okay.
And I'll leave that to them. They're the experts. I am not. I just
Hey,
like to come up with good ideas and try to find a way to make them happen.
well, this has been a great idea. I'm just telling you. I mean, whenever I first heard word that this was happening right before you all had your annual meeting, I was thrilled that you all were actually stepping up to be a part of this. And I guess I asked a little bit about guidelines of what comes next, and you mentioned a little about the dental unit water lines and things like that. So I'll just ask you the 30,000 foot view question: what comes next now?
Yeah, so we are setting up a separate entity under the Association for Dental Safety because our association is a membership organization. That's who we are. Our foundation supports that work. Then this is, although it will be part of ADS, it is its own separate entity because it has its own special mission. So we are working to get all our I's dotted and T's crossed to get that new entity finalized. We are set up with the Secretary of State already, and we developed the new name, the ADS Institute for Dental Safety and Science, which I think
Nice.
is a strong name. I'm very excited about that. And we will also be doing some fundraising to have the funds necessary to keep this institute going.
That was going to be one of my questions actually, because we know when government funding was slashed, where does the money come from? And is it going to be through individuals and corporations, or how do you see that?
Yeah, we're working, hopefully gaining some support from some private foundations, and always looking for individual support as well. And so there's a lot of work to be done on that end.
I know there's always this perception out there that government moves a little bit slowly whenever it comes to things. Do you feel like that now with the institute in place, will things be a little bit more nimble, shall we say, if legislation needs to happen or changes need to be made?
Sure. I hope so. But there are processes which I know Eve can really speak to when you're updating guidance, because we want to make sure that we look at everything that this is done. All the steps are taken, correct steps. We will have a time period for public comment. So all of that does take time, but it may go a little quicker than the government work. I hope.
So, on a personal level, what are you most excited about with this change?
Oh gosh, I am just excited to be part of an organization. I mean, as you know, we have been around for 41 years. We announced our name change, our 40th anniversary annual conference last year, which you were part of, and we were so thrilled to have you there. And I just think this association has been, we've been in the background. I've said it before. I think for so many years, we were dentistry's best kept secret. And I think through COVID, more and more people learned about what we were doing. But I don't think we've always done a great job of letting the oral healthcare community know everything we were doing behind the scenes. We just do the work and we don't announce it to the world. And I think I'm excited that maybe more people will know that this association exists, that we are here to our main mission and vision is that every dental visit's a safe visit for both the patient and the provider.
Outside of the institute, I know that you all have memberships with ADS. You all have ways to support ADS overall. And you and I have talked about this. Whenever I talk to my dental assistants out there, this is a drum that I always bang because it's so important for them to be getting the right information, not just what they
Yes.
see on Facebook or TikTok.
Right. And and again, I'm excited about this tool that timing's been everything for us, Kevin. But we launched a new tool at our annual conference at the end of May. It's our Ask ADS tool, which we've had for many years, but we had an individual, a very qualified and talented dentist that would answer the questions submitted in our email box about infection prevention. And she would give the right information. So this isn't what happens when someone goes on social media and says, is it paper up or paper down? This is the right information. And so we announced a new AI tool that is on our website. And right now it's free for anyone to use. It's not a
Right.
member only benefit right now. But whatever language you ask the question in, your the answer is given back to you in that language. So
That's
that's a
cool.
great tool for, especially for our international members. And the information is gathered from the documents and the sites we have told the AI tool to go to.
Nice.
So it's not like going to Google and submitting a question and you might get the wrong answer because it pulls from social media. It pulls from things that have been posted that aren't correct. So this gives us, it gives you that answer. And I know that's something that that the CDC Division of Oral Health had done for years as well. They had their own mailbox. And so we're already set up to do that piece and take over that requirement as well.
Well, I love how you, ADS, have stepped up in such a big way and in such a necessary way to make sure, as you said, is the association's mindset, that safe visit every time for everybody involved.
Yes.
So tell people, where do they learn more about what's coming as well as what's available right now with ADS?
So right now, just going to our website, myads.org. We will continue to provide updates there. The ADS Institute will eventually have a site, but right now, any updates on the Institute will be on my ADS site.
And we're going to make sure to have that link in the show notes so that you'll be able to keep up with things, as well as we are going to stay on top of this at Dr. Bicuspid, because this is such an important part of the dental community and what is to come in dentistry as well. And like I said, we will be talking to Eve very soon, so keep an eye out for that. But Michelle, always love talking to you, and I'm so thrilled that that you came to us with this piece of news and how important it is.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and thank you for always supporting ADS and supporting our mission.
I will tell you, whenever I first learned about OSAP way back in the day, had a different hair color. But I will tell you, it made such a difference whenever I learned that there were those experts out there that you could trust and really know that they had your back whenever it came to such important questions. And it makes me feel better going into dental practice as a patient as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, Michelle, thanks again, my friend.
Thank you, Kevin.
And thanks to all of you listening to this episode of the drbicuspid.com podcast. Some really cool things happening right now in dentistry, some really important things happening. We want to make sure that we stay on top of it and we're informing you, but also that you're getting the right information as well. Till next time, it's Kevin Henry, editor in chief, signing off. And as always, wishing you nothing but success ahead.